Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. What I have learned off of watching way too many videos on YouTube about broadheads. Okay, first of all, 97% of the channels out there testing any broadheads, period. Okay? They're shooting at bricks, at steel, at aluminum, at thick wood, everything that has frig all to do with shooting at an actual animal. There is no realism here, no realistic crap whatsoever. Even a video I watched shooting ballistic gel blocks with scapula bones, okay, they're shooting from like 6-7 feet away with a 70-pound plus compound bow, and some of their friggin' arrowheads are pretty expensive, but either way, yeah, every one of them's a pass-through shot. Yeah, okay. How old are those scapula bones, by the way? Because here's something I'm going to give you a little bit of an education on, because even I know stuff, okay? Your animal is alive, okay? Bones are moist, they're denser, they're weightier, they're going to take a lot to get through, okay? So when you've killed your animal and you've skinned it, you've done your thing, you got skeletal structure left over, maybe you want to save a few trophies because you're a little strange, I guess, that way, but whatever, okay, those bones are going to dry up and they're going to get really lightweight, which means they get really brittle, they get very dry, and yep, they can just break apart way too easy. So I don't know how old the scapula bones were they were shooting at, but either way, at that kind of a range with that kind of horsepower behind those arrows, that is not a realistic test going into ballistic gel. And the blocks were about, I don't know, probably about this long, and they're like, this by this, typical block, right? And they put the scapulas around what looked like the halfway point, okay? But shooting from that range gives no kind of even proper simulation, okay? Now, in their minds, they thought they were doing a good job. But in reality, they did a piss poor job. Just like every frigging channel, every video I've watched, testing even Amazon broadheads, Montax, the whole nine, okay? And they're durability testing these things, and they're shooting at concrete, they're shooting at the steel, they're shooting at thick aluminum, they're shooting at all this stuff that there is no animal on planet Earth that is that dense and strong to try and go through. So what is the whole point of these videos? Freaking entertainment and dissing products that are probably really good. And in fact, a lot of those products are way better than what they even came up with as an idea at the end. Okay? And it's like, so I wasted days and hours hoping to find a video that had the correct title for my bing, oh, we got some hope, and getting let down sorely and no education out of it other than that. As stupid as I was when I started watching, or before I watched, I was just as stupid after, because I learned absolutely nothing. So I found some real hunting channels where we're doing live hunts using similar types of products, okay? And I've seen channels that actually shot at a fresh kill, doing penetration tests on that fresh kill, okay? And of course it was already gutted, thankfully, okay, but still pretty bloody. And shooting at head shots and rib shots and gut shots, because you could also accidentally hit the gut. And some animals, yeah, the animal's now useless if you hit its gut, by the way, apparently. But even hind shots, or the back bacon, okay, on the hog. And these are real true tests. And even one of the things pointed out on the one hog video, this was Ranch Fairy, is this thing, I guess it was a hypodermic, or looked like a hypodermic. Anyways, really wide, and unless it lands vertical, like everything is vertical to the side of the hog, you're not getting in, okay? So you need a different broadhead for that kind of purpose, right? Because you only have half-inch spacing. My suggestion, study the anatomy, and how do you say it? Anatomy. Study the anatomy of the animal in which you intend to hunt, especially for the rib spacing, okay? But also, these guys too, they're all shooting flat surfaces, right? In reality, we're shooting a curve, okay? So if you look at this one guy, he actually put a couple racks of ribs up. I don't know if they were beef or pork, but whatever. He's shooting at a curve like this. That is not the curve you're shooting at in reality. you're shooting at a curve that's this way instead. Okay, so it's an outward this way. So that kind of really didn't yield much in the end either. Okay, so it's kind of like, well, at least, you know, the bones were still pretty dense and, you know, moist and all that, because it's a rack of ribs. Well, actually 2 racks stacked. And so he's got to make it through plastic and that. But what about the hide? What about the you know, like the skin and the hair? I mean, that's going to cause resistance too, which is why we need sharp arrows. Well, sharp heads anyways. So I also came to a conclusion out of this too, that I kind of wasted my money on these Fiatchis. I'm still going to go through all the time, energy, and frustration of fixing them up and getting them usable, because yeah, they're really dull and very piss poor machining. Don't ever buy these unless you want to spend a lot of time and energy, and you will need a sharpening stone or at least a dead flat solid surface. Put the sandpaper down and start carving into her, baby. And 100 grit and then 600, and if you really want to finish them off fine, get some 800 or 1000 grit to do the final touches to get them really beautiful and cutting like razor blades. Okay, I'm gonna go probably just leave it as far as probably 600 or 800 grit. I gotta go get some more sandpaper today. I was supposed to do that yesterday. I was in town. I was like total brain dead. I forgot. So now I gotta go out again today. But or maybe I'll wait till Monday. Yeah, I'll wait till Monday because I got to go into North Bay on Monday anyways. So anyhow, so I've learned that the Fiatchis, even if you've got some, you know, ones that are not defective and you fix them up, they would probably be good for turkey and definitely other small game, but I wouldn't even think about trying to kill anything in the classification of a deer or higher, so nothing big game. Wouldn't do it. Okay, I mean, it's only 3/4, well, probably 7/8, maybe 3/4 inch cutting diameter, probably more like 3/4 inch, and I really don't feel safe shooting even a deer with that. I'm only going after turkey and deer to start with anyway. I feel a little bit better using something like this. It's got a much bigger cut diameter, and you know, I still got to sharpen the blades on this and the other 3 because yeah, even from the factory they weren't great either. But you find that a lot. We have a mass production society. You're going to get a lot of not so sharp objects, right? And some may come nicely sharp and nicely shaped and spin true. It's going to be a pig in a poke, whether you're on Amazon or go to your local archery store, because even Montex you can buy at your local stores, and they're apparently good, but that doesn't mean they're good, okay? Because you can get defects that way too, and stuff you're going to have to spend time sharpening regardless. And you may even get some that are already pre-bent and not going to spin true, so keep that in mind. Doesn't matter where we buy our crap from, you know, and probably about, I would say, 99% of everything brand name and off-brand, okay, is all made in China anyways, and I don't really care, okay? I don't diss the Chinese. I mean, the thing is I'm using Chinese arrows that fly like freaking laser beams, and they cost me less than half of what I paid for my Eastons, and I got a dozen versus only half a dozen, right? So I got a dozen arrows for $42, another dozen for $57, still way cheaper than $72 for 6 Eastons. Now, mind you, every single one of these things flies like laser beams, including the Eastons, but you can save some money here. Now, I use the ACMOS brand, okay, ACCMOS. Those are the arrows I'm going with, and I'm sure I might eventually get a defective one or two, but so far, I've been quite fortunate, and I've bought a dozen of each type, because I got the recurves and the compound, and I've had absolutely 0 issues. In fact, some of each of those have gone through my 5/8 chipboard backboard because I whoopsied, I missed, and they like eat right like halfway through almost, right? And it's like, holy cow, even from 26 yards, it's got good penetration with that field tip. No damage to the arrow whatsoever. They still fly straight and 0 damage. So anyways, you don't have to buy high-class, high-priced arrows if you don't want to. It's kind of your thing. But I guess it's your budget too, and I'm on a tighter budget because I don't have a ton of money. So I am trying to do this as affordable, but also as safe. And also, I want to make sure I drop my animal as fast as possible. So, you know, I may cheap out on my arrows a bit, but I'm going to probably go after a little bit more pricier broadhead in the end. I thought these would have been a good deal because they actually looked a lot bigger and sounded bigger than what they actually are in reality. But then, of course, we got the defects, the build quality, and it's kind of like, well, you do kind of sometimes get what you pay for. But you know what? For 46 bucks, I want to show you something. For 46 bucks, you can get these babies, which have been thoroughly tested and have been thoroughly destroyed on every YouTube video I've seen them on, except for one or two. They are actually, in reality, good performers for the majority of it, okay? But it doesn't mean you're not going to have to spend some time sharpening those blades that are on there, because you may have to. Check them first, and then sharpen the ones you need to sharpen. But they fly really good as long as you get a good one, right? And they do the job. They take out the animal, right? But anything with these blades that pop out, you've got to watch the animal you go after. So in case you don't hit vertical, by the graces of the good Lord, and you hit on an angle like this or like this, you got to hope that you're going to be able to get through, okay, to get to those vitals. Otherwise, you may have a problem. Anyways, there's a lot of options out there, but I am done with watching any of these stupid channels that are doing nothing but wrecking stuff, and there's nothing even partially realistic in any of their testings that is viable, good data to go by, okay? Watch the real hunting channels, and yes, the real hunting channels, they're going to do live hunts, they're going to do an after hunt test as well, like Ranch Fairy did with the hogs, and he'll explain stuff more in depth and better. The guy has got the experience behind him, and so do many of his friends that have channels as well, and people that know who Ranch Fairy is, who are also long-term hunters. Some of these guys really do know their stuff. The only thing I disagree with on every one of these channels on YouTube is when it comes to bear shaft tuning. I don't believe in it. I think it's a complete pile of garbage and myth, because I'm buying arrows that are from China. Yes, who cares? Okay, but I'm also buying Easton arrows, and they all fly like laser beams. I have no issues with these arrows. If there's an issue, it's me, okay? But either way, they still land straight even if I don't hit the bullseye, okay? But at least now with my compound, I can get groups like this even 26 yards, okay? As long as I don't mess up and Mother Nature leaves me alone, okay? So I'm good with my compound, but I'm not that great yet with a trad bow. That takes a hell of a lot more practice than a compound ever will, okay? And we're going to talk about that in another video, because I really think we should talk about that as well. I'm learning a lot, and I'm learning a lot really fast, and there's a lot of stuff I've already known for years, but we never really talked about it much on the channel because, well, I wasn't as serious into archery as what I am now, okay? And that's a big difference right there of, you know, what I would have had for content over the years when it comes to archery. It's like, oh, here or there, you know. Now we're going to get more serious into things, and we're going to really do some experimenting too with even a lot of these things that were miserable failures. We're going to try out some of them just to see what they're really like, and go from there. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. I know I certainly learned a lot from watching a lot of stupid stuff, and I came out just as stupid as I started, but thankfully I did get an education from some good channels that are actually giving me the answers that I'm seeking. And that's the big thing. We gotta find the channels that are gonna give us the answers we're seeking. That's the big thing, right? You know? Anyways, that's it. That's all. See you in the next one.